Spurs 2, Wolves 0. Stevie Nicol. It was pretty routine in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, by the end of the game, it got pretty open. Both were kind of counter-attacking each other, which made the second half quite enjoyable to watch, to be honest. I think Spurs probably did edge it. Wolves, I mean, I've had such a torrid season since Jimenez got injured. Unfortunately, poor Silva is not ready for the Premier League yet, but he's been burdened with having to pretty much play from the start, week in and week out, and he's not ready for it. So for Wolves, it's been a long season. It's been a tough one. It hasn't been an easy one or a straightforward one, certainly since Jimenez was injured. And for Spurs, it's a lot of questions from now on in. Where do they end up in the league? Where does Harry Kane end up? Is Gareth Bale going to stay or go? Well, probably he said he's going to go, but so there's so many questions for Spurs.
Let's get into some of these questions. First of all, do you like the front four with Kane, Son, Dele Alli, who's come back into the fold, and Gareth Bale? Do you like that?
Well, on paper, it's fantastic. And on occasions, we saw it today with a good movement, good passing. And, I mean, one occasion, both Kane and Dele Alli hit the post within about a second of each other in a great move. So, yeah, it's an exciting looking four. But it's another question. Is it a four that's going to be there next year? I suggest not.
Harry Kane, another goal for him. If you are Harry Kane and Spurs end up in the Europa League, not the Champions League, which is probably the most likely outcome, are you wanting to stay?
Bye.
See ya.
Harry Kane has to go. If Harry Kane wants to win major trophies, then he has to leave Tottenham Hotspur, because Tottenham aren't doing that. Tottenham are back to kind of maybe not quite where they were when Pochettino came in, but they're kind of slipping down to pretty much that sort of place right now, which means it's going to take time to get them back competing for the top honours. Harry Kane at 28 doesn't have that time to wait another 2 or 3, maybe even 4 seasons to build Spurs up again. So he has to go. For his personal career, he has to go. Listen, if he wants to be, I was going to say if he wants to be an all-timer legend at Spurs, but actually, he already is. So he has to go.
Do you think there's a real top-class manager out there that Spurs could go and get if they push the boat out, that could maybe persuade Kane to stay?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not about getting one top-class manager and keeping Harry Kane. It's about rebuilding the team. The team needs rebuilt, and you can't do that in a short space of time. It takes 2 or 3 seasons, in my opinion, to get competing with the best, and that's how long it would take Spurs, regardless of who the manager is. Harry Kane doesn't have that time, I don't believe.
Do you think the appointment of Jose Mourinho has set this football club back?
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, we knew what Spurs were all about. Certainly under Pochettino, but under Jose Mourinho, they ended up with no identity. The players didn't know whether they were defending or whether they were attacking. They were kind of caught in no man's land. And when you spend such a long time, we're talking about pretty much the whole season, being in no man's land, that's going to take another coach some time to get rid of those thoughts, get rid of those wrinkles, and start afresh.
Well, the man who ultimately gave the go-ahead to appoint Jose Mourinho, Daniel Levy, is also going to be the man that will give the go-ahead to appoint the next manager of Spurs. One of the names linked was Nuno from Wolves, who's done a great job since he took over. Is he high-profile enough, do you think, for the Spurs fans?
I don't think it's about being high profile. It's about getting a guy who's going to. Spurs have always, and certainly in my mind, have been about attacking football. The Mourinho thing was just anti-Tottenham completely in my view. And somebody like Nuno is all about football. regardless of the results that Wolves have had this year, they play attacking football. They've got an identity, and Spurs need that again. Listen, we didn't complain when Pochettino came in. That wasn't a high-profile signing, but it was the right signing. And I think Nuno would be as well. You know, the way he plays the game, I think will definitely suit Spurs fans.
What other candidates that have been mentioned do you like for Spurs next season? Because there's been quite a few of them.
Is it like who?
Brendan Rodgers was one of them.
He ain't going to. You going to? Who in the right mind is going to leave Leicester right now to go to Spurs? Not Brendan Rodgers. That's not happening.
Is this the problem now that Spurs are going to have? I mean, if Kane, in your opinion, isn't going to stay if they don't get Champions League, does that limit the options that they then have from a managerial perspective? Because they'll not be able to offer Champions League if they don't qualify.
Listen, it depends how you look at this thing. You can look at this thing all different ways. You can look at Spurs as one of the biggest, greatest clubs in Europe, and the only people that can manage them are people like Pep and Klopp. If that's how you're looking at it, then you're going to be struggling because there aren't that many of those guys around. Now, there's plenty of good managers around. We've just spoken about Nuno, and he obviously would go from a place like Wolves to Spurs. So, you know, you have to think about. Your options are not always just about who you want. It's about, are you going to get them? Listen, I'm sure they want Klopp. Are they going to get Klopp? No, they're not. So they have to go and look around and see who they can get. Brendan Rodgers is a great example of you're not getting them because of the way you are right now. If Spurs had come in for Brendan Rodgers 5 minutes after the end of the Champions League final, 2-3 seasons ago, then Brendan Rodgers, I'm sure, would have jumped at it. But a lot can happen in a short space of time. And where Spurs are right now, somebody like Brendan Rodgers, who's in a better position than Spurs are and look to be on the rise, ain't taking the Spurs job.
Final question. If Harry Kane goes, what kind of team does that leave Spurs as? Just another Premier League side, or better than that?
Well, it's certainly not going to be any better if he leaves. You know, we were talking earlier about how do you like the front four. So the front four today was Son, Kane, Dele, Alli, and Gareth Bale. And there's a strong possibility that the start of next season, there's only going to be Son, and questionable whether Dele Alli's still there. So there's going to be a lot of changes at Spurs. And who's going to make those changes is still the million-dollar question right now.
Looks like Spurs fans may have to be patient, and it may be a long game and not a short-term fix. Stevie, thank you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.